Afterward. After the funeral, there was food and laughter in the home of the deceased, but out of respect for him and his widow, founding members of the nearby Baptist church most of our families attended, no beer or wine. On the outside, the house looked too small to hold all the church folk and neighbors who filed through it. Inside, the house smelled of old things, of curtains, lampshades, and furniture that exhaled dust, of carpet pads ground into the seams of hardwood floors, of knickknacks glued to shelves by the passage of time. The crowd streamed in and filled every seat, every pocket of space. Before long it was hot and stuffy. We children were restless, but not permitted outside in our Sunday suits and Sunday dresses this wet fall day. 90-something and frail, little Miss Henderson was the center of attention all afternoon. We were pinched or plucked into silence and made to sit quietly at our parents' feet when she was near. The women fussed over her and made up plates of food for her and adjusted her couch pillows. The men helped her into and out of her seat and held doors for her, and when she was out of earshot discussed who among them would gather her garbage and shovel her snow and do the yard work now that Mr. Henderson was dead and Ricky had been drafted. Throughout most of it, Miss Henderson sat as if dazed, bottom lip quivering and one side of her face drooping lower than the other. She'd suffered several small strokes, the grown-ups had warned us. She tired easily and sometimes said strange things to herself and had trouble holding her cup and saucer. For as far back as we could remember, she had never smiled much. Today it was clear, even to the youngest of us, that she had been crying. She was flanked on the couch by her only two living relatives, her granddaughter, Miss Sparks, and her great-grandson, Ricky. Miss Sparks was a nurse who lived 2 blocks away and spent much of her free time at her grandparents' house. Ricky was one of the cool kids, someone every boy in the neighborhood wanted to be and every girl wanted to be with. He had a job and lots of girlfriends and his own car. 6 months from now, Ricky Sparks would die in Vietnam. But today he took turns with his mother, holding Miss Henderson's hands, or adjusting her TV tray, or cutting her food. When the old woman drifted off to sleep, it was Ricky's shoulder against which she sagged. He didn't mind sitting there, he said, so no one tried to get her upstairs to bed. She breathed easily, lips still quivering, as guarded but unsubtle conversation took place around her. Someone asked Miss Sparks what she planned to do. Before she could finish shrugging, somebody whispered that a nursing home wouldn't be the worst thing because surely this house was too much for Miss Henderson to manage all by herself, with the stairs and the yard and her health not so good. Somebody else suggested there was plenty of room for Miss Henderson in Miss Sparks's house. Of course, all the stuff in this house would have to be sold or given away. And as those crowded around began to pay closer attention to the furnishings, another old woman pursed her lips and offered her considered opinion that after nearly 75 years of marriage, Miss Henderson wouldn't last long without her husband. She proved right. Miss Henderson, having moved in with Miss Sparks, did not live to attend Ricky's funeral. But on this afternoon she slept, drooling on Ricky's black suit jacket and twitching every now and then, occasionally mouthing something that nobody could understand. After an hour or so she mumbled something that sounded like shit and sorry and jerked awake, startling everyone. Miss Sparks asked if she was okay. Looking uncertain of where she was or with whom, Miss Henderson said in a slurred but discernible voice, "Just thinking about the last time you fucked me." The room grew so quiet we could hear the dust settling like light snow on a deserted winter night. "Must have been 15 years ago," she continued. "It hurt and I was tired and told him we was too old and I didn't want to do that nonsense no more. Never touched me again, never tried, never complained. Guess he was tired too." Her eyes moistened as she looked ahead, not at those gathered around her or at us, wide-eyed as we sat on the floor with our cups of red punch, but into her own brief, empty future. "If I'd have known then this was going to happen, I would have done it with him one more time." Her lower lip stopped quivering as if frozen by her resolution. "I think we both would have liked that." Afterward, nobody could think of a thing to say.